If it is or if it ain't, it's gonna come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is January the 13th, 2023, and today the topic is Our Jealous God. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope that you had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fine. Real quick, talking about yesterday, y'all. Your girl, I did get out there and was hustling in the streets. Basically, after I finished the juice, I got ready and head on out and everything like that. And it's like, well, just in case, maybe some people want breakfast, X, Y, and Z, right? So I got out kind of early. But that's mainly because I know that, our little guy is taking a virtual class, and so I wanted to be back before then. So I had in my mind, I'm going to get home, or I'm going to set my alarm for 3:30 or something like that. And then I'm going to head on back home. Well, I'm out and about, doing my thing. In some ways, seeing the sunrise, I'm noticing the beautiful morning, the beautiful sky, all this good stuff. And then I ended up talking to my mom, and she was like, "Oh, have you not heard about the tornado watch?" And I was like, no. But yeah, so it turns out that, there was a tornado watch in our area and everything like that. But to God be the glory. I worked, I guess what you would consider to be a full day, or I worked the full time that I had intended to work. And I didn't see a drop, y'all. I didn't see a drop of rain or anything. Like, by the time I literally parked in the garage, I don't know if the Lord was just holding it for me to get home or whatever the case is, but not long was I in the house. That's when I heard rain, and that's when I heard wind. The lights flickered and stuff like that. But outside of that, y'all, we had a regular evening here in our house. So to God be the glory. For favor, right? For protection, for being passed over, however you may look at it. I know when I woke up this morning, which I woke up around 2:31. I woke up later on in the evening yesterday too. I think around like 8:30, and I made note of that as well. But anyway, because I gotta tell y'all what had happened, right? But when I woke up this morning, I was seeing that a lot of people in my hometown, Jackson, Georgia, and Griffin, Georgia, and things like that, were talking about how they had been affected. I saw a photo of not a Lowe's, Hobby Lobby that the roof had been taken out of. I saw a couple of photos of, houses with trees on them, things like that. And as much as I tease my husband about trees, because when we were looking for a house, he was very adamant about not having trees around us. And I'm like, husband, we need trees to breathe. Like, I mean, isn't that deep? But I mean, I guess when these things happen, I can see where he's coming from. I'm definitely praying for those in our community and everything like that. Prayerfully, praying for those that were affected. And I did hear about a 5-year-old child that, I guess a tree struck a car. I didn't really see all the information regarding that, but, definitely praying for that family. Let's obviously keep people in prayer, that were affected by this tornado and everything like that. But just letting y'all know that all is well here. And then also, when I did chit chat with my family, all seemed to be well. Obviously, I'm gonna chit chat with them today and just check in and make sure. But yeah, so that's all I know about that. And thank and praise God for, seeing another day, y'all. Seeing another day. In regards to yesterday, basically, man, I was kind of tired and hungry. Like, as soon as I came back home, I was just hungry. So one of the first things I did was grab me some leftovers or whatever the case is, and tried to kind of woosah a little bit before it was time for NJ to log into his class. He logged in. I think he retained some information, y'all. We're gonna keep the little guy in prayer. Maybe it's just me, right? Like with high expectations. So y'all keep me in prayer, right? Keep me in prayer that I show the guy some grace and mercy, in the beginning stages of his education, So yeah, that went well though. The class seemed to have gone and went well. And then yeah, soon after that, y'all, your girl was knocked out. Like I was gone. And like I said, I woke back up around 8:30. Went back to sleep and then woke back up around 2:31. And so I was up ever since 2:31 this morning. I was kind of getting, feeling kind of tired, feeling distracted, all these different things. But I took in a lot of different information and stuff. And then I listened to the prayer meditation, which I don't remember at the moment because, girl, you know how your girl get, man. I got engulfed in what the Lord was showing me with 2:31 and everything like that. And so, yeah, so after the prayer meditation, I started to look into 2:31 and well, actually I looked into both times. I looked into the 8:30 time as well. But I don't know, the 2:30 time just kind of was sticking out to me a little bit more. So I started to kind of focus on that. But then I kind of paused, to be honest. Like I took some time to just kind of, I guess, clear my mind from everything. And then ultimately, this concept, ultimately the concept about jealous God stood out to me, but it was some other things that kind of stood out in the beginning to get me to jealous God, which I think if I can kind of try to remember a couple of things, it was like, I guess, one reflecting on what was being said in, what is it? Jeremiah 2:31. I ended up reading the entire Jeremiah 2, which is a beautiful depiction of God's heart towards Israel in particular, but I feel like us in general as well, like all humans. But so that was one thing. And then, like I said, I did read the other section as well. I did look at the Strong's Concordance and all that type of stuff, but I guess just Jeremiah 2:31 was just standing out the most in all the things that I was studying this morning. And I guess, I just took some time to just reflect on the heart of God and reflect on, like, what is he saying in this, this passage and what I was reading in Jeremiah 2, the entirety. And basically, it's just like God pouring out his heart to us and being like, hey, I'm here and you guys it's like y'all ignore me. It's like y'all forgot all the things that I've done. And I just kind of I guess I put myself in those shoes for a moment. I was like, well, what is this ultimately saying? And I looked up those different phrases, even though I can't think of them right now. But I kind of looked up the different phrases, what I felt like the overall message was. And then ultimately, that led me to our jealous God. So let's get into it, y'all. So I looked up the definition of jealous, right? And obviously, the first two definitions are what I think we all think of when we think of the word jealous. But I think that third definition is what represents God, at least biblically. So let me read all of them. So jealous says feeling or showing envy of someone or their achievements and advantages. And then the second definition says feeling or showing suspicion of someone's infirmities in a relationship, or unfaithfulness in a relationship. And then the third definition says this: fiercely protective of or vigilant of one's rights or possessions. So in my humble opinion, that third definition is what the Bible is talking about in reference to God being a jealous God. I feel like it's coming from that perspective of being fiercely protective of what he knows is his. First of all, everything is his, right? Second of all, we are his, and so again, I just couldn't help but really think about those verses that I was coming across, like, oh, You know, the verses that refer to making carved idols, whether they're out of wood, gold, or anything, right? And worshiping those, and how foolish and silly we look to do that. And then we can't sit here and judge people that do that, because at the end of the day, we do it whether we know it or not, because you do it with your cars, your homes, whatever the case is. You put things before God. So let's not judge, the people that actually do that and actually carve something and call it their God. When you do the same thing, for anything that you put above God, that's considered to be an idol. So, so that's one thing. Two, I couldn't help but think about your girl. All right, well, this might be Pope. Somebody might not want to hear this. Sorry, okay? But I couldn't help but think about your girl, Oprah. And listen, look, now I grew up on Oprah, Whoopi Goldberg, all these people that I, looked up to as a black woman. You know what I'm saying? But I guess it's just kind of interesting seeing these people in my adult life. Can I just say it like that? Seeing the things that they say. Like, there's video footage of Oprah saying, in reference to the verse about God being a jealous God, that, I was feeling to myself that I can't believe in a God that's jealous of me. And I'm sitting here like, how in the world do you think that God is jealous of you? The point is that he's jealous for you. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm not sitting here trying to act like I'm just, a guru or nothing. But see, again, I think it just goes back to just thinking about the word jealous and only referring, thinking of it in the reference of, jealous, envy, or something like that. And I believe the Bible is clear, but definitions are clear as well, that envy and jealousy is different. But for some reason, it's like trying to be a blurred line between those things. And so again, maybe you need to go deeper and look into the biblical definition of jealousy and things like that to get a better understanding of what the Bible is saying. So that's just something to think about. I guess as we embark on this conversation of God being a jealous God. But yeah, let's keep going. Let's get on into it. I see my Cuzzo tuned in at some point. Thank you, Cuzzo. Good to see you. So yeah, let's get into this. So Jeremiah 2:31, the whole I guess the inspiration by the topic today, right? It says, O generation, see ye the word of the Lord. Have I been a wilderness unto Israel, a land of darkness? Wherefore say my people, we are lords, we come no more unto thee. As I was reading this verse this morning, obviously, again, it made me want to go deeper, so I did read the entire Jeremiah 2. But if I just reflect on just that part right there, basically all of this went down, or he's saying all of this after, like, everything that went down in Egypt, after, saving them from Pharaoh, parting the Red Sea, giving them a land to possess, all these different things that the Lord did to provide and to show himself. And then somehow after all of that, it still went back the way it always goes with humans, apparently. They went back to worshiping other idols and all these things. And like, on one hand, to a reader, right, to me, as I was reading the Bible, like when I went on my venture to read the entire Bible, and as I was reading, all of these different accounts, I'm like, man, Lord, why did you, these particular people, man, like, they just I don't know if it's just being hard-headed or what, like, they just, like, on one hand, why didn't you choose another group? Maybe another group would have been a little bit more loyal. But then maybe not. I think all humans, we all do this all the time. So it's not, I guess, anything that when it comes to Israel. But I did notice that this is particularly referring to Israel, that verse that says, have I been a wilderness unto Israel? So I guess when I was thinking about that part this morning, I was like, I guess to other nations, they kind of have an excuse because, maybe, not say he didn't reveal himself, because again, the entire earth and everything reveals God, right? They so much so where a lot of majority of the world has come up with their own idea of what it is, because they acknowledge that there is something above them, right? Um, but maybe those other nations. This is just me speculating. This ain't got nothing to do with Bible, so okay, all right. Now, what I was gonna say is that other nations might have had like a slight excuse, like until they got the gospel and until they got information about Yahweh, right? Or this God of the Bible, or however you want to see him, call him, Jesus ultimately. But anyway, until they got this news, this good news, the gospel, you know, for a group to make up their own thing and try to figure it out, X, Y, and Z. I mean, I guess that's to be expected. And then you get the information, and then you make moves accordingly. But Israel, this particular nation, didn't have that excuse that the other nations had, right? Because he was always there for them. He had always been showed up for them. He had always done so many miraculous things for them. And even in spite of all of that, they still went back and did what other nations do. And again, to a reader reading this, you're like, man, why won't they just get it? Why won't they just, remember what happened with their ancestors? Remember what he did part of the Red Sea? Remember what he did leading them out of Egypt? Remember, why wouldn't they just remember that? And be like, oh, yeah, we got the real good, true God, I guess we should ask ourselves that question, because we do that too, right? We do that every day. I mean, all day, every day. Probably even me. I'm not going to see it again, not pointing no fingers at nobody. I'm just saying, we as humans, we do this. God will bring us through. We'll make it through another day, and then we'll forget, right? And then be like, oh, Lord, help me, or we'll feel some kind of way if we don't get the answer that we expect or think it should be. But anyway, just something to think about, just something to think about when it comes to this conversation. But yeah, I mean, I hope that you guys go deeper and check out Jeremiah 2, because it really is a, I guess heart-wrenching, eye-opening look at God's heart, in my opinion. And, hopefully it'll give us a different perspective when it comes to, the different trials of life. But let's keep going. So Exodus 34:14, it says, for you shall worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. So, and I found this interesting actually, because, this verse, and I think there's another verse later that I'm going to read to you all, talks about my name is this, my name is that. And what came to my heart and mind this morning as I was reflecting on that was that, well, one, we're never going to have a full understanding of God, right? It's like we got pieces and glimpses of God. And so this jealous, he says my name is jealous here, it's just one piece or aspect of God. Now I don't know if we all fully understand that or not, but I mean, on one hand, I feel like, okay, well, we're multifaceted as humans, right? We all have multiple ways that we feel, even though we're just one human, but we have multiple titles, I am a, daughter, sister, wife, mother, and that's not even getting into whatever occupation titles and all this other stuff, right? So if we can have all these multifaceted things about us, then why don't we understand that that's the same for God? And probably even more so than we can ever even fathom at all. But at least, can we at least kind of see it, something like that? I don't know, I guess I feel like that's an important thing to think about, because I think, again, when we're trying to put God into our box of who we think he is or whatever, this concept of him being jealous, if we just think about, again, those first couple of definitions, we're like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Why we gotta be jealous, da 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 da. And it's like, I don't know, just like that definition had multiple definitions. um, I think that we should expect God to have multiple aspects of himself as well. That's just, I don't know. Or so much so that we don't fully understand and probably won't ever understand until maybe we're in his presence. But who knows if we'll fully understand then too. I don't know. I don't know. Just putting it out there. So anyway, let's go keep going. 2 Corinthians 11:2. It says, "For I feel a diverse jealousy for you, since I betrothed you to one husband to present you as a pure virgin to Christ." So yeah, I mean, I think that makes it clear that, again, jealous for us, not jealous of us. So y'all, if y'all want to go tell Sister Oprah that, that's cool. I'm sure that was a long time ago. Hopefully she's, renewed her mind now regarding that. But the fact that that was even documented, that she said that, to me is just a little bit laughable, because it's like, come on, sis, like you gotta know that God ain't jealous of you. He made you, so come on, man. But anyway, maybe not. She said it out her own mouth, so I don't know. But anyway, let's keep going. Isaiah 42:8. I am the Lord, that is my name. My glory I give to no other, nor my praise to carved idols. So this is that other verse I was referring to that says, now in this one it says, the Lord is my name, right? Lord is my name. Jealous is my name, Lord is my name. We done got two names already. Or two aspects of God, right? Anyway. But I feel like there's plenty of Bible that reiterates this idea that, hey, don't put nothing above me. Nothing. No carved idols, no images, like no nothing. And I know people, oh Lord. So people struggle with this concept, because then they're like, oh, see, so don't put Jesus above God either. See, again, I think that's on a whole nother level that we don't understand fully. What I've come to learn is Jesus is God. But again, it took me a while. It took me a process. I feel like I've been honest about that, and was like, again, it wasn't until my adult life that I put two and two together to understand that. So, no judgment on anybody else that doesn't understand it yet, But what I'm saying, I guess, regardless of all of these things that, there's plenty of Bible that reiterates, do not put anything else above me. If nothing else, I hope that you guys, at least, if you can put I feel like I gave a good example back in the day, but I can't remember what episode it was, because y'all know I do the juice every day, so I don't know. But anyway, like, I hope you guys put yourself in the scenario that he's talking about, right? Like, in these different verses, the ones that start talking about, you made carved images, you bow down to wooden da-da-da, like, really think about that. And try to think. I mean, I know we're never going to fully understand or think about everything from God's perspective, but I mean, can we try for a moment, right? Let's just put it into a perspective, like, okay, if I made something, whatever it is, right? I made something, and then that thing turns around and tells me that I didn't make it, and then goes to something else that I made, and call it God, like. Can we see how silly that even sounds? And then imagine what that looks like. Can we think about how silly that looks? And then, I don't know, maybe hopefully this will change our perspective of like what we do and all of this. But, just a little exercise, just throwing it out there, y'all, if y'all want to go deeper and get a better understanding. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the juice, y'all. That's the juice. I mean, those are all the verses that I felt led to share in regards to this topic this morning, about our jealous God. I hope, again, that this gives us all a better understanding of that concept. But if you need to go deeper, if you've never thought about this before, right, and you're somebody that's like, I'm starting from the beginning here, and I'm needing to understand this concept of God being jealous and all that. I mean, there's an article that I came across. It's called 10 Things You Should Know About the Jealousy of God. It's by Sam Storms. Y'all can Google that and check that out. There's a few more things in the Go Deeper section that you guys can peruse and let marinate on your heart, souls, and minds as well. But the Bible verse of today is Proverbs 21:21. It says, "He that followeth after righteousness and mercy findeth life, righteousness, and honor." Y'all know that today is Friday, so the GSL talk show will be coming out at 7 p.m. and it should be a chat with Miss Victoria Rader. She's known as the Possibility Coach. So I hope that you all tune in tonight to that episode. And thank you all so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. This episode was sponsored in part by the A1 Mission Agency, book number 1, The Origin, a Christian espionage series written by Timothy Bevan. This is the first book of the 7-book series that follows the espionage-filled lives of Toby, Scott, and Scooter, and explores themes such as lukewarmness, self-righteousness, redemption, and good versus evil. Purchase your copy today at Amazon.